So almost 3 years ago, I saw this 3D animation on Instagram and I was really impressed by it. I really loved the animation and I kept thinking about how this was made. And after doing some research, I found out that these type of animations were usually made in a 3D software. Now at that time, I used to make simple Photoshop edits like these, and after doing some more searching up on Google, I found out about Blender, which is a free open source 3D software. I quickly downloaded it and after launching it, I'm not gonna lie, at first I was kind of intimidated. Yeah, I know it looks kind of scary, we've all been there. So that's where my 3D art journey started, and this was my first project in Blender. I made this by following a tutorial from Crossmind Studios. He's a really talented guy who makes a bunch of tutorials and covers all aspects of the software. So if you're new to Blender, I would recommend that you check him out. And this project was all about learning the basics of the software like the navigation, creating simple low poly blocker scenes and simple materials and stuff like that. Now I'm a big fan of post-apocalyptic environments, so I tried applying what I learned to create this small isometric scene that you can see here. Yeah, I tried. As you can see, I added some displacement map to the plane and then just pasted it on there, which looks really bad. And as you can see that the perspective also looks really bad because at that time I didn't really know how to switch from perspective mode to orthographic camera view. So yeah, that's why it's looking really bad. And after that, I just kept on creating more models, more scenes and more environments. And it was about 3 months since I started learning Blender and my progress was still super slow at that time. And it was mainly because I had an old laptop without a good graphics card. So you can see that all of these scenes were rendered in Eevee because my laptop couldn't handle cycles. So yeah, that was a problem as well. And from here on out, I was just following a lot of tutorials by Ducky3D and CG Geek, which taught me a lot about how to create different landscape materials, how to add volumetric lighting effects, how to create my own grass assets. As you can see in this scene, I created my own grass assets and I was really happy with this scene, especially with how the lighting looks. You can see that the solar flare and stuff looks really cool. And I also made this Among Us animation in Blender, which was my first time creating an animation. It took me about 32 hours to complete this 1-minute animation, and this was the first time I learned about some basic rigging and camera animation and stuff. And all of this went on about for a year and a half. I was completely using Eevee for all my projects and I wasn't creating anything too high poly. I would just keep the poly count low enough to make sure that my scenes run smoothly. And at the time, I was also doing some freelance work from where I got the money to buy a good computer with an RTX GPU. And that's where my skills got a whole lot better and fast. And since now that I was able to use cycles for my rendering, I started to create some proper post-apocalyptic environments with some texture painting and moss and stuff, as I didn't have to worry about keeping the low poly. And even at that time, I couldn't really create anything amazing because maybe I was still limited by my mindset and I would stop adding details at a certain point because I was worried about the render time, which I really hate if it takes more than 3 hours to render. And I kinda like to keep my scenes optimized. Now during all this, I had also heard about Unreal Engine and how it's really powerful to work with. So first I actually downloaded Unreal Engine 4 and I deleted it shortly after because it was a bit different from Blender and I was just kind of frustrated by it, so I thought I would just stick with Blender for now. And after about 6 months, Unreal Engine 5 came out and I heard that it was actually made more user-friendly and was much easier to use. So that's when I decided to give it another shot, and this was my first project in Unreal Engine 5. It's nothing much, it's just a simple little scene. I just wanted to get some basic understanding of the software because you know it's actually pretty different from Blender, especially with all the materials and nodes and stuff. It's still kind of difficult to learn. So I made some more scene in Unreal Engine just to get the hang of the software. And the last project that I made this year was a forest center, which I'm still really happy with how it looks. And one of the main reasons that I switched to Unreal Engine 5 is because unlike Blender, its rendering speed is much faster and it doesn't crash a lot, which makes it really easy to use. And yeah, that's my progress over the last 2 years. And I know it's not much, mainly because I really don't have that much time. I only get like an hour or two per day to work on these kind of things because I'm still a student. And yeah, next year I'll definitely be making more scenes, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.